Hey guys, how's it going? Lovely morning. It's been raining on and off all weekend and during the week. A bit annoying in some regards because it's also been really windy and dry. How can it be raining and windy and dry? Well, maybe it's just being a bit like Brisbane's being a bit like Melbourne. Anyways, that got me thinking about chronic conditions. Medical terms chronic can have a slightly different take as to what layman terms are. So any medical people out there would know what I'm talking about. Chronic conditions are conditions or illnesses or whatever that persist for a lengthy time. I would guess a lot of people don't understand the difference with chronic and different other conditions like, acute and all that sort of stuff. Everyone knows what terminal is. So chronic conditions, the reason why I mention this is because there's a lot of people I know who have chronic conditions that are, brought on by things such as accidents, general age, or genetic conditions, and there's nothing much that people can do about the original or originating condition itself, be it physical, mental, or otherwise. But there are ways you can mitigate it. Now, a lot of these people live with this sort of condition. They're used to it, as in they do live their life in some form or level of pain. Some people just pass it off. I think to me that's not a good thing. These people live with this pain a lot, and there are certain things like, varying weather conditions like on the weekend, which can exacerbate said conditions and make things a lot worse. And a lot of people don't take that into account, or they do, but then they pass it off as, they're just whatever, and they use that as an excuse. These people don't use their conditions as an excuse. There are people, don't get me wrong, that do use their conditions as an excuse, saying, oh, but this, oh, but that, I'm just whatever, my disease stops me from doing this, my condition stops me from doing that, or it's all because of this condition that I'm behaving like an asshole. There's it might lower your inhibitions in a way that, there's just so much going on, and there's a point where there's so much pain that you don't restrain yourself as much as you usually would in a given situation. But to pass it off and discount it is not for me a very good thing, because that just shows that someone is completely unaware and not in tune with what's going on with you. And if they're your friend or your partner, they should and not just say, oh, but say like girls, oh, they're hormonal, don't worry about it. It's like, well, no, that doesn't mean that you're not being an asshole. It just means that whereas they would usually go, hey, look, it's okay, I'm being patient with you, they just like go, you know what, I've had it, too much going on, I'm gonna give it to you with both barrels. It's the same for grumpy old men. So it's not just the women, it's the grumpy old men that otherwise be patient and otherwise, think things through. They just come along and go, you know what, fuck that for a joke. I'm usually patient, but I've had enough. So chronic illnesses, there's a lot of people out there that have them, and a lot of people who don't want other people to know about them, or they let other people know just to keep it in mind, but they don't use it as a crutch. So who do you know might have a chronic illness or a condition or something? I've had one since I was a teenager, been misdiagnosed, and this sort of weather it plays it up really badly. So who do you know who has a chronic condition? I don't want to call it illness, because sometimes it's, I don't know, I don't like calling it an illness. It's just a condition. Do you have one? We know what things what things affect it? What do you think people do to mitigate or to smooth out those lumps and bumps when it comes to their condition cycle? So when you look around, you don't know that there's some people that have chronic conditions. There was a time when I was waiting for a particular bus, because a friend of mine was driving it, and I was sitting down because I had like a really exacerbated back condition at the time. That was acute because it wasn't long term. And then when I got up to get on, some guy was like, hey, you should have waited in line. I had waited for like over an hour, like about 5 or 6 different buses to get on this particular bus. And this guy, because he was behind this good looking girl, was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to puff my chest out and say, you got to wait in line, blah, blah, blah. I goes, well, no, I've been here for a while. And I ignored him because I was frankly in too much pain. Now, to look at me, you wouldn't know that I was in a lot of pain. However, my friend who's a bus driver knew that I'd waited specifically for him to get on the bus, and he would be there to talk to me and keep my mind off things and drive me home afterwards. So he was like, if that guy had got on and started in on you again, he would have just said, get the fuck off my bus. Just get off. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know what's going on in other people's lives. Just shut the hell up. So, what do you think is going on in other people's lives? You can imagine a lot of what you want. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But don't let that stop you from living life, having a chronic condition. I definitely don't. I just sort of take precautions. Watch what I eat for the most part. A lot of my friends know that I wouldn't call it cheating, because that's I don't know, that has all sorts of connotations to it. I relax my health sometimes, not quite so vigilant, but I know the consequences and I accept them for just going out and cutting loose. So chronic conditions, a lot of people have them. Again, not just physical stuff. It could be emotional, mental stuff as well. So you guys have a good Monday. I suppose you're recovering from the weekend, as we all do on a Monday. And have a think about that. Chronic conditions, not always obvious, but they're there, and these people do live with a certain level of pain in their lives every day. So think about that. Love you guys. Bye.